Imagine if there were wearable sniffer heads in the game, or if horses could have the Frostwalker enchantment. Here are 40 community-made features that need to exist, like this potion that lets you leave your body and enter the spirit realm. The Spirit Walk potion can be brewed with warped fungus, and when you drink it, your spirit will be able to fly around for a bird's eye view, all while your body stays in place. And with Spirit Walk 2, you'll actually be able to move through blocks when you're away from your body, allowing you to scope out any cool things in nearby caves. It may only last 15 seconds, but given how overpowered this item is, I think it balances itself out. Shulker boxes are great, but with only 17 colors to choose from, things get disorganized pretty quickly. But now, we can color the top and bottom halves of a shulker box independently, for a total of 289 combinations. Plus, with this feature that shows us the first item in the box, and a bar that displays how full it is, it's really easy to stay organized. We stand an organized queen. Every mob deserves a mob head, including all their variants. So not only do we have a sniffer, a skeleton horse, and even an allay head, but also a rainbow sheep, a charged creeper, and a shielded and vulnerable wither. Every single one of these heads is wearable, even something as ridiculous as a bat head or a camel head. Not to mention, they all play their respective sounds on top of note blocks, and a bunch of them have special animations when powered by redstone. Man, they thought of everything. Using commands and data packs, armor stands can be put in any pose you like, but for a more survival-friendly approach, this menu comes with all sorts of adjustable knobs, sliders, and checkboxes to make posing these guys as easy as possible. Whether you're populating a city, laying items out on the table, or just adding that extra little detail to your build. Some dogs are big, and some dogs are small, and that discrepancy should really be represented in Minecraft. Instead of all being the same size, mobs should spawn with slight variations in scale, so you can end up with a furry friend who's the perfect size to take home. And with this feature being fully customizable, we can make bees as small as their real-world counterparts, or just get silly with it and fill the world with giant chickens. Creepers are, in a single word, cruel. They're completely silent until they're right on top of you, at which point it's probably too late to defend yourself. To give the player a fighting chance, it might be a little more fair to make them wait to explode until you're actually looking at them, allowing you for a moment to react. If mossy blocks were able to have a biome tint, they'd make for some incredible detailing in builds. As the dark coder shows off, combining the different mossy blocks together creates a really nice gradient from stone bricks to grass, and even allows us to more convincingly hide light sources under moss carpets. It's always frustrated me that if you drink 2 8-minute potions, then the timers don't stack. You just wasted one of your potions. Instead, they should add up to a total of 16 minutes, and even longer if I keep drinking potions. Plus, this would allow us to utilize enhanced potions like Speed 2 for more than a minute and a half before having to stop for a refill. But if you want to quickly clear potion effects with a milk bucket, you have to sit through its long drinking animation, and you can only have one per slot. So a quick and easy solution like stackable milk bottles would be a great addition to the game. You can drink them up super fast, so they're actually worth keeping on you for when you encounter any witches, cave spiders, or bees in your travels. And by upgrading them in a brewing stand, you can make splash milk bottles that are the perfect tool for facing off against a wither. Quickly toss one onto the ground to clear the wither effect, and get right back to fighting without even a second thought. There are plenty of mods that allow you to combine slabs into a single block, but what if we took it a step further and made it so you can put a button, a lever, a torch, and a carpet all in the same block space? This should help avoid common annoyances, like not being able to put torches in corners, and could also create some new build hacks, like this fence design made with levers. And if we had leaf slabs too, we could make these potted azalea hedges. These are also useful for creating more intricate mini trees like this, with small piles of leaves on the floor to top it off. But a slab type you wouldn't imagine is useful is the melon slab. As weird as it may sound, it does look like the perfect decoration for a little picnic build. And call me crazy, but I kind of dig this watermelon floor pattern. If you wanted to get wild, you could use melon stairs, melon jack-o'-lanterns, or even melon jack-o'-lantern slabs. But maybe we don't need to go there. Making a note block song in-game is pretty much as inconvenient as it could possibly be. You have to tune the note blocks by ear, and if you accidentally skip over the note you were looking for, well, you'll have to click 24 times to loop all the way back around from the beginning. But if there was a dedicated menu for picking which note to use, composing note block songs could be done in half the time, and it would allow you to put on piano recitals for your friends. Armor trims come in all sorts of awesome varieties, but when it comes to the item texture, you can't tell them apart at all. Instead, each trim should have its own unique item texture, so you can actually understand what you're putting on at a glance without having to read its item tag. Plus, golden armor is supposed to prevent piglins from attacking you, so golden trim should do the same, right? There have been many proposed solutions to Minecraft's inventory issue, but maybe the simplest is the best. If we could scroll through the columns of our inventory from the hotbar, then we'd be able to access everything we're carrying annoying without having to click and drag stuff around. For example, I can reserve the second column for tools and have immediate access to whatever tool I need without cluttering up my hotbar. Everyone was hoping foxes would be tameable, but sadly, they aren't. So let's fix that. And while we're at it, why not add a few new fox variants too, like the silver fox, the cross fox, and the gray fox. Honestly, the gray one is to die for. Besties for life. Frostwalker is cool and all, but since you can't sprint jump with it, it's kind of limited in its use cases. Removing that limitation, you suddenly have a cool new way to traverse the oceans without a boat. Though if we could put Frostwalker on horse armor instead, then we would have an all-purpose vehicle that can go between land and water seamlessly, which would make it the best form of transportation behind the elytra. But instead of updating an existing enchantment, how about a completely new one? The stepping enchantment allows you to step up a full block without having to jump. Now, I know what you're thinking. Isn't that just like auto jump? Well, not exactly. Because if we build one of those super steep horse staircases, the stepping enchantment actually allows us to use it without the horse, allowing us to travel over 100 blocks vertically in about 5 seconds. If you want to see some real speed though, check out this enchantment that makes you into a parkour master. With it equipped, we can run on walls, vault over 2 blocks, and jump into a slide. And by leaping out of your slides, you can build up a ton of momentum and bunny hop around your world at sonic speed. Item sorters take up a ton of space and can get pretty expensive, but with a little bit of honey, you can make a sticky hopper, which always makes sure it keeps one item in every slot. This means we can easily make item filters that can sort up to 5 items into a chest with no redstone required. So your storage room goes from looking like this to looking like this, which is a super elegant solution. But if we use hay bales instead of honey, we'll turn our hopper into a cropper? And it doesn't even pick up items. What gives? Well, if we place it under some farmland and plant some wheat, then when it fully grows, the cropper will automatically harvest it, allowing us to make a highly efficient farm that doesn't waste any time. And if you've ever found farming flowers to be a waste of time, now all you need to do is bone meal them to make them spread. Plus, we can stack them into a single block space to create much denser flower patches, and place them into these brand new colored flower pots to give our builds a little more character. And for a build hack, the white flower pot makes for a much better coffee cup than the default one does. The 6 banner pattern limit has always bugged me, because if we removed it from the game, we'd be able to create all sorts of incredible banner designs in survival, such as these pug and cat designs for your pet shop build, or this yin-yang emblem that's perfectly balanced, as all things should be. With infinite layers of patterns, the possibilities are literally endless. Arrows stick out of players, so they should stick out of other entities too, allowing us to retrieve them after the mob's been killed. And if my body's covered in arrows, it only makes sense that by crouching and right-clicking, I should be able to pluck one of them out to fire back at my enemies. Though, if you're not careful, you could pull the arrow too fast and be your own demise. But for a different style of combat, how about we strap a sword to the side of a pig and saddle up for some pig jousting? This little guy may not move that fast, but it's pretty hilarious to slowly poke your opponents to death upon your mighty steed. And he does look pretty fearsome, doesn't he? There are so many mechanics and items in Minecraft that there's absolutely no way you'll be able to remember what every single one is. So giving each of them a brief description should help make things a little clearer. These detailed item tags give hints as to what everything can be used for, which is great for newer players, but even more experienced players need to be reminded that they can't sleep in the nether every once in a while. Speaking of the nether, you know what would make a lot of sense? If instead of just dying under the wither effect, skeletons would actually transform into wither skeletons. This would allow us to create wither skeletons with bows, which, if you didn't know, always shoot flaming arrows, regardless of whether or not they have a flame bow. People have wanted edible cactus for a long time, and since we can use an axe to strip things like logs and copper, it'd make sense for us to be able to strip a cactus of its spines, and then cook it for food. I mean, hey, if camels can eat them, why not us too, right? Anvils are pretty frustrating. They charge you more and more every time you repair a tool, they charge you for renaming name tags, and they need to be replaced constantly. In a game where the mending enchantment exists, I see no reason that you shouldn't be able to repair the same tool as many times as you'd like. Renaming items should really be free without causing damage to the anvil, and for things that do damage it, it'd be nice if it could be repaired with iron blocks in dispensers. That way you don't have to worry about physically replacing one of your workstations every few days. It's pretty annoying to place large amounts of glass panes, iron bars, chains, and fences, given that they have really tiny hitboxes. If you could toggle a full block hitbox for them, building could be significantly faster and easier. I mean, how many hours of human life have been wasted just positioning a mouse over the very tip of a chain? Too many to count. Not everyone uses the saved hotbars feature in creative mode, but it's pretty much like your own custom creative mode tab. Normally, you have to close close the menu and use hotkeys to save your hotbar, but it'd be much more useful if you could just individually move items into the slots with your mouse, so you can more finely organize the perfect building palette. And with multiple pages worth of saved hotbars, you can just keep an endlessly growing collection of block sets for any situation. Unless you want to open the spaghetti mess that is the F3 menu, there isn't an easy way to tell whether or not you've waxed your copper. So some sort of simple indicator would be really helpful for making sure you haven't left any of your copper unwaxed, or for checking if any pranksters came by to unwax it all themselves. Glow item frames and glowing signs are amazing, but since glow squids can be pretty annoying to find and kill, it'd be great if we could also use glowstone dust to make things glow. I mean, we already use glowstone for making arrows glow, so why not signs and item frames too, right? If we can put axolotls in buckets, then we should be able to scoop up frogs too. And for that matter, why not make squids bucketable as well? You could customize things and make any small mob bucketable, like parrots and chickens, or you could just go buck wild and put the ender dragon in a bucket. Hey, it's your choice. The downloads to all of these mods will be in the description below, if you'd like to check them out for yourselves. Let me know which of these features was your favorite down in the comments below, and if you like this video, be sure to check out one of these next. With all that being said, I will see you in the next one.